Hello and welcome to The Cosmic Nomad. I'm your host, Bailey Rushlow, and this is a space for the curious and the heart-led, where we explore the human experience through travel, nature, spirituality, and real-life transformation through beautiful conversations. As I discover my way of living what I call an inspired life, I share the practices, stories, and perspectives that have helped guide me back to myself. In this episode, I'm sharing about how romanticizing my life became a way to shift my mindset, shape my reality, and bring meaning into everyday moments. So settle in, get cozy, get yourself a nice drink, get a blanket, go on a walk. When I think about the concept of romanticizing my life, I'm taken back to being 17, moving into a new home with my family. And it was the first time that I ever had my own room since I was a really little kid. And so I remember telling myself, I want to make this space the most beautiful, the most relaxing, the most calming, not realizing that I was just trying to tend to my nervous system. I was trying to make an external space that I could feel like my internal space could then rest in, right? And I remember getting twinkle lights, candles, a lot of natural light, soft textures, photos of my friends. Did I say candles? Incense. Everything was organized and put away, and it really was the first time that I felt like this external environment is a reflection of what I want my internal environment to be. And these are so intrinsically connected, our internal and external worlds. They're mirrors of each other. When I'm feeling chaotic and my room and my space and my environment is chaotic, it's just going to magnify itself, right? But if my space is calm and I'm able to match that calm, everything is going to be magnified in the calm, It seems simple, but a lot of times we find ourselves thriving in chaos and crazy situations, and our nervous system is living in a space of dysregulation. And we start to feel like this is normal for us. We start to even chase that feeling. Like, oh, I need to be stressed because it gives me purpose. I need to be dysregulated. I need to be running all over the place. I need to not be able to sleep. I need to drink coffee on an empty stomach to spike my cortisol so that I can get up and get going in my day. And it's all this stuff. I never take time away from my phone, and I'm constantly on call, and anyone who needs me can get to me. And oh my God, that stresses me out. But I used to live like that. I literally used to go from thing to thing to thing to thing, and I would wonder why I was always sick. My immune system was constantly taking a beating from how much I was driving my nervous system into the ground. Literally into the ground. And when I finally developed this comfortable space to live in with all of the little things that made me feel at home and at peace, and for everyone that will look different, but I think there are a lot of similarities for a lot of us, and that includes soft natural light, soft textures, and a space that has our things of comfort. Maybe that means your art supplies. Maybe that's your scrapbooks. Maybe that's your books, your bookshelf, your bookcases, your journals. It could be your instruments, right? There's so many things that it could be for all of us that are different. And there's not a right way. But I think there is a right way for us individually. And finding what that is and learning how to create romance in your environment so greatly impacts your nervous system and the state in which we live in. And, it's funny because it's not about performance or perfection. It's not about faking it, and hoping that this will somehow make a difference. It really is about reverence for the small things. Lighting incense, choosing a playlist, walking slowly and smelling the flowers on your way, making breakfast with intention instead of rushing through it and eating as fast as you can, right? It's reclaiming also the joy that was once dulled by survival and programming and religion and anything else. We have the capability of being so connected to our childlike joy and our, children. We romance everything as children. We romanticize everything. We're like, oh my God, the flowers and the breeze and the plants and the cake and everything is it's so important and it's so exciting and it's so beautiful. And as we grow up, we really lose that. And we're oftentimes even made fun of for thinking this way about life. When the alternative is to rush through it and miss everything and take it all for granted and be stressed all the time and be living in a state of dysregulation. That's the alternative to romanticizing what you have been given and what this beautiful life has to offer. Ritual plays an important role in my life, and the routines are different than the rituals. They are similar, but there are differences. So let's talk about that. So routine is something to just get you through the day. Brushing your teeth, for example, taking a shower, making a meal. These are things we need to do. There are things we have to do to live and to stay healthy. But ritual is something that drops you into the day, okay? Routines are usually just on autopilot, but rituals are intentional. Okay, here's a question for you. Brushing your teeth. Ritual or routine? Which one? It's a routine, right? It's just something that you do to stay alive, basically. It's something you do to keep yourself healthy. Making breakfast, walking your dog, cleaning your bathroom. There are so many things that we have to do, okay? But what happens when we invite our soul to the process? To me, that's what ritual feels like. That's what romanticizing things feels like. Am I pretending like everything's perfect? No. And that's not the point. If that's something that you've been trying to do, stop doing that, because that's not real, right? That's inauthentic. But what does feel authentic is, instead of just brushing my teeth and going through the motions, maybe I have a little playlist on. Maybe I've lit a candle. Maybe I'm doing some skincare while I'm brushing my teeth. Maybe I'm stacking habits. That's something I also love to do. I want to talk about the physical and psychological benefits of doing this, but I also want to tell you at the end, I'm going to give you a whole list of ways that you can romanticize and ritualize your routines and your life in a way that I feel like I can almost guarantee you is going to shift something in your world in a way that maybe you didn't expect, maybe you haven't experienced since you were a little kid. Maybe just inviting that play and that childlike innocence back into your life will shift something in a way that you've been waiting for. It's all about maximizing the time that you've been given in the routine. You can ritualize it because it's like it invites your soul to the moment. It's not just rushing through. It's not just quick and get it done and move on, because we can spend our whole lives like that. I said this in another episode. You have maybe 100 years here. Are you going to just rush through all of them? Are you going to rush through until you retire and then you can take a break when you're 60-something? Or maybe you want to rush through things and get there faster so that you can earn the rest that you want. But that's a whole episode for another time, isn't it? Earning rest. Ugh. So ritual helps us physically by doing 3 things. 1, it helps us to regulate our nervous system from, like we just said, that fight or flight, crazy rushing things going on, living in chaos, back down to our normal and natural state of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest state, not fight or flight, okay? Ritual helps by slowing our heart rate, lowering cortisol, because we are forced to be present in the moment, right? Another thing it helps with is establishing rhythm. Rituals give our body signals like now it's time to rest, or now we create, or now we nourish, right? Especially as a neurodivergent person, if you are, maybe you relate to this as well, transitions are very important to me. So when I get home from the grocery store, for example, I've got arms full of grocery bags, I'm sweaty, I'm tired, I'm a little bit overstimulated because I hate being under fluorescent lights and loud music and lots of shopping carts and people in a rush. It stresses me out. So for me, grocery shopping is a perfect example of something that I normally don't feel very rested while I'm doing. However, when I come home, to transition my energy back into being home from a little bit dysregulated state into a parasympathetic state, the first thing I want to do is take all my clothes off and get in the shower. I will set all the groceries down on the counter and I will go take a cold shower. Because I live here in a very warm and tropical climate, my shower is not always that cold. It's usually kind of warm because water sits in the pipes all day. But anyways, you have to do what we have, And taking a shower feels really good for me. Maybe instead of just taking a shower, though, I'll put on a playlist of like some really calm frequencies or something very gentle that I know all the words to, something that's not really loud, really crazy, really intense, jumping around type music. It's just very calm and peaceful. After I do that, I usually like to drink something and eat something. I will leave the groceries on the counter while I do all of this. By the way, I'll put the frozen things away, but I have to take care of myself first. And this transition is important to me. Coming home, feeling grounded. I will then gradually put the dishes away, maybe while I listen to the groceries, maybe while I listen to an audiobook, maybe while I, put on a face mask, maybe while I take a hit from my bong, right? Something that's going to bring me back down into my body and keep me from floating off into the rafters of my mind, like bring us back down. Which brings me to the third point, why it's so important physically for us to have ritual is that it enhances sensory connection. All of these things are so important to support embodiment in our practice of living this human life. A great way, if you're feeling a little unsure of how to apply these things to your life without maybe feeling silly or just not sure how, focus on your senses. What do I see, smell, taste, touch, hear? Those are where you can ritualize and romanticize things. So, for example, we're going to go into a whole list. This is like my favorite part of this whole episode. This whole list of everyday rituals and romanticized moments, okay? So, you need to take a shower. How about we make a drink that we take into the shower? Instead of a quick 3-minute rinse my hair and we're done. What if you had a drink? I don't know. A shower drink sounds like a vibe. Maybe that's a tea. Maybe that's kombucha. Maybe it's lemon water in a wine glass. It hits different, okay? Maybe it's, I don't know, something you have in the fridge. It doesn't have to be an elaborate, now I have to go prepare this entire drink situation, although it can be. It can also be really simple. Create a little playlist just for showering, or maybe just for the transition of coming home and ending your day after work, right? Dim the lights. Light a candle while you're brushing your teeth, right? Maybe you make a little spritz with lavender oil or rose water for your pillow before you fall asleep to bring a sense of calm into your space before your dream. Maybe you take yourself on a date to your favorite nature spot, your favorite beach, your bookstore or coffee shop without your phone while you're coming back from this running an errand. I don't know. Find little ways that you can take what you're already doing and just transform it a little bit. Maybe you use a special cup or mug that makes you feel cozy in the morning instead of just grabbing whatever. Maybe there's just a little bit more intention put into it. Again, we're inviting our soul into the moment, okay? Maybe instead of doom scrolling at night, you pick up a poetry book and you read it out loud to yourself. Maybe you listen to music while you cook or clean. I love doing this one. Writing a note to myself on a sticky note and leaving it somewhere cute where I surprise myself with it. Maybe instead of rushing to the grocery store, I put my headphones on with music or audiobook and I pretend like I am the main character in today's movie, okay? Maybe I eat on a real plate, not standing over the sink. Like, even if it's just toast, maybe I'm making my plate beautiful. Maybe I say affirmations to myself while I'm washing my face, telling my body how grateful I am for her, not picking her apart. And I've told people this before that are like, well, it's easy for you to do that stuff because you don't have kids. Well, it's easy for you to do that because you don't work a 9-to-5. It's easy for you to do that because fill in the blank. Sure, it is easy for me to do that. But you know why? Because I started a long time ago and it changed my life. And I've made it a priority since. Are there days when I don't get into it as much? Sure. Are there days where I still feel really dysregulated and I have a hard time pulling myself out? Absolutely. Are there times when I'm really sad and romanticizing things just doesn't make it better? In fact, it makes my sadness even like more deep and more profound. Totally. And there's also a place for that. If I'm going to be sad, I'm going to be sad well. Let me just tell you, this goes both ways, okay? If I'm sad, I'm going to make it the best sad experience that I can, okay? I'm going to listen to the playlist that makes me cry. I'm going to feel it all. I'm going to lay on the couch. I'm going to wallow in my emotion. I'm going to watch my show. I'm going to eat my Rice Krispie treats. I'm going to have a whole moment because I know that once I've felt what I need to feel, rather than pushing it aside, pretending like it's not there, gaslighting myself into performing or pretending like everything's fine, I'm going to feel so much better when I've actually felt what needs to be felt. Journal, and then I'll do what I need to do to really move the energy. Maybe that means going for a walk, doing jumping jacks. Seriously, don't sleep on the jumping jacks. They have the possibility to change your entire mood, your entire day, just by getting your lymphatic fluid flowing and your heart rate elevated. And your whole body is like, okay, we've got endorphins going, we've got dopamine rising, we feel better already, right? There are little things we can do to interrupt the pattern. All that to say, you can romanticize your life even when you're sad. You can romanticize your life when you're married, when you have kids. Involve your children in your rituals, right? I know it's easy for me to say because I don't have children, but there are absolutely small and significant ways that you can involve kids in this stuff because it's their natural state to be excited about life, to see the potential in the moments. Kids are so attuned to joy naturally. We can actually learn so much from them. So maybe your kids can even encourage ritual moments for you that make you feel more connected to yourself too, you know? The fun thing about this is that you can take these with you no matter where you are, what season of life you're in, where you're living, whether you're traveling, you're living out of a backpack, you're living in a house or an apartment with roommates or by yourself or with your family. There is always space for these rituals to exist. As someone who has lived in every situation that I just said, including living out of a backpack for months where it's a little bit more difficult to create routine and ritual for yourself and to romanticize things when you maybe feel a little bit displaced or feel like you're lacking a sense of home. There are always things you can do. Don't stop looking for the ways you can feel safe, connected, and inspired. Because we don't do these things to make our life look good. It's not for an Instagram reel. I mean, if it is, then that's great. I hope you're inspiring people with your reels. But it's not about that. It's actually because they make our life feel good, right? Not just look good. Beauty and living in what's called the beauty way, where you're looking for beauty in all of the spaces that you find yourself in, okay? It is a rebellion. It's like a healing balm for your soul and for this hurting world. It's bringing a level of sacredness into the ordinary. It's bringing magic into the mundane. You don't have to. None of this is a requirement. But again, the alternative is to just live life lukewarm. And honestly, that sounds so boring. I can't imagine not romanticizing my life now because I've been doing it for so long. It's just become a way of being. It doesn't even take that much effort anymore because I live my life looking for the good. Before I get out of bed every morning and put my feet on the ground, I say, universe, show me how good it can be. Show me how good it can get. Show me all of the good. Let me see all of it because I'm a very sensitive person and I can so naturally be attuned as an empath to the grief and the suffering and the pain. And while this is so important and we are not ignoring that, we're also saying this is valid too. And I want to see the beauty right alongside it. I'm going to feel it anyway, but I would like to see the beauty because that's going to remind me of my joy. And my joy is what connects me to my deepest sense of embodiment and alignment, to my creativity, to my intuition, to my ability to be grounded and focused and clear in my thoughts. My joy is something that I can feel deeply rooted in, right? So it's not ignoring the grief, the pain, or the suffering. It's simply completing that yin and yang of saying it all can exist and it can coexist together and I can hold both. And I know that our frequencies impact more than just us. When I create ritual in my life, my partner benefits from it too. My cat benefits from it too. My friends who come to my house and say, oh, I feel like I can breathe in here. I can't tell you how many people have said that to me in the spaces that I've created over the years. And it is one of my favorite compliments to hear because that's how I feel. So when I feel that reflected from friends or family or people who come to visit and they're like, oh, I can breathe lighter in here. I'm like, well, that's because I have a million plants and they're really creating a lot of oxygen. So they really get your things. But also the environment and the space that we create is such a reflection of us, right? So you don't need a new life, okay? You just need to start seeing the one that you have through softer eyes. And remembering that romanticizing is not a delusion. It's devotion. It's inviting the soul into the moment. Beauty is also not a frivolous thing. It's not something you're wasting your time on. It's actually a frequency. And this is how we root ourselves in the world while also staying open to the unknown. Because when I'm living in fight or flight, nervous system dysregulated state of being, I'm not looking for the good. I am waiting for my mind and my ego to confirm that I'm right about the ways that I'm feeling. Does that make sense? A friend told me this recently about the 5-to-1 negativity bias. Our brains are wired to notice the negative. Research shows that we need at least 5 positive experiences to emotionally balance out one negative experience. That alone is why it's so important to look for beauty, for softness, for joy, for purpose. It's not toxic positivity. It is supporting your nervous system. It's retraining your mind to see that goodness exists, even in a small and quiet way. So one fun thing is I've actually included in the show notes my go-to playlist that I've created of all of my favorite chill vibe songs that are perfect for transitioning out of chaos into peace, whether you're coming home from a party, the grocery store, or just waking up and want to create soft vibes in your home, this is the playlist for you. Again, it's in the show notes. It's completely free. It's just a playlist on Spotify, but I would love for you to download it, listen to it, see how you feel, see what changes with all this good energy you're choosing for your life. I love this poem by Mary Oliver called Instructions for Living a Life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell me about it. So on that note, open your notes on your phone and write down some ideas of some things that you could do, like just a few things. It doesn't have to be long, just a couple things that you could do to add this romance into your own life. And then I would love for you to email it to me. You have homework. Who knew? Podcast with homework. No, you don't have to. But I would love to see the things you come up with. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today, for listening, for sharing this space. And if today's episode spoke to something in you, please feel free to share it with a friend who you think would also resonate, and or leave a review. It helps more than you know. I'll be back next Tuesday with another episode, and until then, open heart, open mind, stay curious.